Hello guys, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is. I hope you're well. I just kind of want to make a quick video today compiling everything we know about master modes for Star Citizen, which will be coming at some point in the future. We really don't know when, likely not until after Squadron 42 or until much closer to Squadron 42's release, because that is what they are testing and using these modes for currently. However, there is a bit of information that we got on Friday, and that combined with the CitizenCon information is probably all we'll have for quite some time, and that's like 47 minutes worth of content. So I just wanted to hop on here and summarize it for more of the casual viewers. You know, I make a pretty casual channel. If you guys can't tell, it's kind of the goal of all this. So if you guys, follow Star Citizen actively and you've seen CitizenCon and you watched the Star Citizen live the other day, you're really not going to learn anything from this video, and I recommend you click away. But if you're new to the game, you're returning to the game, or you just don't follow development all that actively, this video will summarize everything you need to know from that 47 minutes that they've talked about into, I'm hoping, for under 8. Alright, so let's begin. What are master modes? Master modes are the two modes that your ship will have to choose between while out in the verse. And basically, they each have their own restrictions and different tools and components that can be used. So ultimately, it kind of narrows down how we operate and will also force you to choose between a certain set of capabilities for your ship. Now, currently there's only set to be 2 master modes, and they did say during the other day on Friday, Star Citizen Live, that they don't plan on adding any more, but let's just assume that everything in this game is subject to change because everything is. So we're just going to talk about the 2 that are announced currently, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they do separate and add a third mode, which would be for racing or something like that. We really don't know. Regardless, let's just talk about the 2 modes we know currently. The first one being combat or activity mode, as I like to call it, because it doesn't just apply to combat, and nav mode, which is going to be your travel mode. So starting off with activity or combat mode, this is where you're going to be doing all your activities in your ship, such as mining, salvage, and obviously combat, as the name would suggest. Within this mode, your speed will be capped to somewhere between 200 to 300 meters per second, depending on ship size, what your loadout is, how heavy your ship is, stuff like that. And basically also whatever they decide. They might want smaller fighters to go much faster and bigger ships go much slower, or they said they wanted interdictors to be able to go a bit faster, or like disruptor ships to go a bit faster to be able to catch their prey, stuff like that. So it's kind of up in the air how individual ships will break down, but somewhere between 200 to 300 meters per second. You will also have access to your shields and weapons within this mode, which is why it's called combat mode, or any utility functions that your ship has, such as tractor beams or the salvage arm on the reclaimer, which is getting replaced at some point. But anything like that, any utility items will be usable in this mode. Now, this will have the effect of generally just slowing down combat and adding more skill to the game, in the sense that you will not be able to joust your opponents anymore and kind of just face them head on. You'll need to outmaneuver them a bit. The new boost system will allow you to bypass the speed limit by a bit and allow you to make cool, risky maneuvers around your opponent. And while you're in combat, it'll just introduce a new sense of, or a new level, I guess you could say, of expertise, and will require you to try a bit harder. Beyond combat, if we're talking about any activity, it will also force you to maybe bring some escorts or kind of double check where you're doing business, right? Because you can no longer just quantum drive out of there. I didn't explicitly mention it, but I thought it was kind of implied, but you cannot quantum travel in combat mode, hence the need for a travel mode. So now let's talk about travel mode. In travel mode, or nav mode as they're calling it, you can quantum travel, but you can also quantum boost, which is this shorter range version of quantum mode, where you can go, they said anywhere likely under 50,000 kilometers, you can just kind of hop over to, and it'll zoom you over there by barely tapping into your ship's quantum drive, and you can kind of navigate over to points of interest much faster without having to spool or target a specific area of interest. And in this mode, you'll be able to do those things, but you will not have your weapons or your shields. And on top of that, there will be a period of transition between these 2 modes. If you're in combat mode and you immediately transition into nav mode, quantum drive will have to spool. Your weapons will go away immediately. And also, if you're in travel mode or nav mode, going very, very fast, and you immediately hop into combat mode, they want to be able to, because currently they don't have it working yet, but they want to be able to knock you out for a duration of time because of the massive g-forces that will be put on you from going from 1,300 meters a second down to 200 in the course of a few seconds. Like, it will immediately just slow you down, and that will have a consequence. So switching between these modes is going to be something you don't really want to do unless you have to, forcing you to kind of evaluate what you're doing and how you're approaching certain gameplay situations. this adds a whole new layer of complexity, right? Because now you do need to do some risk analysis. If you are a cargo hauler and you're cargo hauling, right, and someone now intercepts you and pulls you out of quantum drive or your quantum drive, you don't have shields, you don't have weapons, and any escorts you have with you won't either. And so maybe that'll encourage you to one, start bringing escorts, or two, start evaluating new ways of getting your cargo around. Maybe you're going to keep it much more local and take that profit cut by doing things on one planet, or maybe you won't do cargo running at all. So stuff like that, it really just kind of forces you to think about it. Or maybe you're a prospector mining in the belt, and someone kind of comes up on you. You need to be able to get out of there, but your shields are down and stuff like that. So it's going to introduce this whole new level of complexity. And within combat mode itself, while you're fighting, it will also introduce a much higher skill ceiling, as players will have much more nobility as the goal, because you're going much slower. So your ships, I guess you can say, strengths will be played to much more, assuming you can master that from your own abilities. I guess maybe that's why it's called master modes. I don't really, I don't think there's a justification behind that. That maybe be my idea. So it's going to introduce a lot more skill-based stuff and also a lot more risk analysis into the game. I know, not a super long video, and there isn't that much information out there, but I was kind of confused. I recently hopped back into the game pretty actively after like months away, like half a year away, and there's also a lot of new people hopping into the game now. I mean, we just hit a fundraising record. We're over 4.2 million citizens, and the game is growing. People are flocking to YouTube at a pretty fast rate, kind of getting involved with the community more, and so I just figured I'd make this video, which looks like it'll be like 7.5 minutes after my little outro here. But anyways, guys, I'm trying to get a little community going, so there is a Discord link in the description. It's also on my YouTube, like description on my channel. And beyond that, we also are still in the Luminalia event, so if you're looking to get in the game or you're thinking about getting into the game, now is a great opportunity. My referral code is in the description, or you could use anyone else's during sign up of your account to get that free Argo MPUV when you buy a game package. I think it's anything of $40 or more, which would be even the cheapest game package. So if you use that code and you get into the game, you'll get your game package ship and that ship for free as well. So now is a perfect time, especially with 3.18 coming up. And I would love to play with you guys, join the Discord. I'm trying to be in there a bit more. I'm going to organize it a bit. Maybe we'll even start an org. I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, what do you guys think about master modes? I know this video wasn't super long or complex just because there's ultimately not that much information to know about them. So what do you guys think about them? Do you think they'll be a good thing for the game, bad thing? Let me know in the comments down below. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.